Happy New Year. It's officially 2026. I hope that you've had a wonderful start to the new year so far. It's only just begun. And I also hope that you've had a very peaceful and relaxing week since Christmas. It kind of feels like it was just yesterday, but it also feels like it was weeks ago. It's been 1 week. And I've been doing a little bit of work this past week, but for the most part, I have been relaxing, trying to stay home and cozy as much as possible, and just enjoying leftovers and catching my breath and getting myself ready to start a brand new year. I'm not one for a huge restart in January. I kind of feel like spring is more of that for me. But I definitely do think that I needed to kind of take a break this week, slow down, and just try to get back to some of my normal routines starting Monday. I am not really going to do much else until then, except knitting, play around in my new journals and planners, and just enjoy some quiet time. I have filmed a couple of videos for Patreon since Christmas, but I thought I would pick up the camera today and share a few things with you because I'm missing it. I feel like Vlogmas kind of takes over when I'm filming, and I feel like I have to catch you guys up. So I've been immersed in a lot of different things this week. I thought I would share a few of them with you. I'm gonna start off with what I'm reading or what I'm planning on reading. I spent some time with my Simple Abundance book this morning. I think I mentioned recently that January is one of my favorite months in this book. And so you can see I've got tabs in here. I've got tons highlighted and underlined, and I really just love catching up with the January entries. So that is a big part of my morning routine. I am really trying to commit to waking up a little earlier each morning. I love to sleep in, and we are all, well, not all of us, 3 out of 4 of us are still struggling just a teensy bit with our energy since being sick in December. I've heard a lot of people say that whatever virus was going around, or flu, or whatever it was, this winter season, it really lingers even after you feel better. You're just kind of tired. And Glenn, Camden, and I have all been dealing with that, but I really need to get up at a certain time to sort of start my day off right. And so I'm committing to doing that in a better way starting tomorrow. And Simple Abundance and knitting is a big part of that. So I've got my little cozy corner over here. I think I'm going to clean out my little tiered table that's over here and kind of get it organized for my morning routine. I also finally got back into reading this past week. I feel like I was in a big reading slump, and I started off reading Cowboy Casual, which was a recommendation from Christina from Chelsea Yarns, and it was a really great book to get out of my slump. I then read, I think it was called In a Heartbeat by Laura Pavlov, and it was okay. I finished it and it was okay, but it wasn't the greatest, but it really reignited my interest in reading again. And so I went through my list of books that I want to read. I kind of bumped some to the top of the list, and I'm trying to figure out what to read next. So far, I have at the top of the list The Favorites by Lane Fargo, which is a story about two figure skaters that I've been wanting to read for ages. Another one is The Dutch House by Anne Patchett, but I'm not sure if that one is going to be emotionally heavy. I was reading some of the reviews last night and I really want to keep my interest going, but I also don't want to be sad right now. Another one is Salt and Broom, which I don't know a lot about, but I did see quite a few people talking about it online. Last year, I read Quicksilver by Callie Hart, and I haven't read the follow-up or the second book in that series called Brimstone, and so I'm kind of curious about that one, but I feel like I might want to reread Quicksilver first. Not quite sure. And I think that's it. Oh, and then I also have The Serpent and the Wings of Night by, who's this by? I find it so hard to read on my Kindle screen. I don't know, but it's the Crowns of Nyaxia series. So that is my reading kind of wish list. I'm just trying to figure out what type of book and which one I want to read next. I also got a new cookbook this past week. It's just a really small one. It's visually not that exciting, but I've been really interested in Italian cookies. I'm half Italian and we always enjoy Italian cookies around the holidays, but there's a couple that I haven't had for a while and I don't have recipes for. And I thought this book would be the perfect little book to add to my collection, which is really a great resource. It's called Sweet Maria's Italian Cookie Tray, a cookbook by Maria Bruschino Sanchez, I believe. And there are no pictures really in this book, but all of the cookies in here are classics. There are biscotti recipes, there are pizzelles, a lot of drop cookies, and most of these you can get at the Italian bakery. I feel like we grew up eating all of these, but I really wanted to have some recipes, and this book got a lot of great reviews, and so I picked it up after Christmas. Another thing that I am spending some time on this week is gathering some easy dinner recipes, particularly for the slow cooker, to kind of get me ready for the new year without too much fussing in the kitchen. And so I pulled out 2 books and a magazine that I already had in my collection and have been spending some time just flipping through them again. I picked 2 of my favorite books that had slow cooker recipes in them. This one is Everyday Slow Cooking by Kim Laidlaw. I really like this book. I've made quite a few things from here and they're really good. Kind of simple, but also really tasty. So that's been a nice one. I was using this one during Vlogmas. It's one of my favorites I shared, but look at what happened. I dropped it. I use it so much. I dropped it and the whole binding kind of split. So I need to tape this back together, but Skinny Taste One and Done by Gina Homolka is a really great one. It has chapters in here for your Instant Pot, your slow cooker, air fryer, for the sheet pan, skillet, and Dutch oven. And those are all things that I really enjoy using. I love a good one-pot meal. Oh, I just remembered about these. These are delicious, these open-faced French onion burgers. So I've been just trying to find some inspiration, some recipes that I've made in the past that I remember loving. And I'm also looking for some new ones. So I pulled this out of one of my kitchen cupboards. I went through a phase of collecting quite a few of these Better Homes and Gardens specialty recipe magazines. I think I have one for the air fryer. I have one on apple recipes, one for breads. I have quite a few of them. I really like them. And I was going through them this morning and I found this one and I thought, why not pull it out and have a look? I love these shredded meat type recipes for the slow cooker or the Instant Pot. So I am trying to make some lists. I actually pulled out one of my older kitchen notebooks, which is in this leather cover. It's so old, from Chic Sparrow. I don't even know if they do them anymore, but I have a lot of lists in here. And one of the books is actually family recipes and dinners. So I'm revisiting these notes and I'm going to make some fresh new lists just to kind of shake things up a little bit. But I'm really trying to get back to some, I don't want to say basics, but I guess favorites. I want to get back to some favorites in the kitchen. Sometimes I get so caught up in trying new things and I forget about some of the favorites, not the key favorites that I make over and over, but there's sort of an in-between category where I know they're really good recipes, but I kind of forget about them. These lists really help me to remember some of the things that we all enjoy, and I really want to make dinners pain-free for the next month or two. I just want to immerse myself in winter, be super cozy, try to eliminate unnecessary stress and decisions in the kitchen, and keep things simple, but also really tasty. So that's what I've been up to. I've also been setting up my journals and planners for this year. It's neat to say that now that it is officially 2026. I will share a little peek at those later, but since I'm here with my huge carry-all bag that has just grown and grown with all the things, I have been carrying this around with me from my bedroom to my little cozy spot here, to the basement when we watch movies, to the family room, to the kitchen. It kind of goes everywhere with me. I'm calling it my couch bag. I have 3 knitting projects that I am currently working on, and I'm really loving all of them. The project that I've been spending the most time working on this week is my Sophie hood from Petite knits, and I'm really loving it. I'm so happy with the gauge of this. It's knitting up really squishy and soft, and I love it. I wasn't quite sure where I was in the pattern when I picked this up. I feel like it had been a few weeks. I didn't take good notes. I took a risk and just pushed on. Luckily, I was correct. And I've just been flying through this ever since. I think my progress keeper was somewhere around here at Christmas time. I've moved it once. I've kind of left it because I like seeing how much progress I've made in the last 2 or 3 days. I'm really happy with this. The yarn for this is from the Knitting Loft. It's their Oliver base, which is 100% non-superwash merino 4-ply. The color is ultra pink, and I'm so happy with it. I think this is a US 8 needle. Yes. And it's just what I've been picking up the most, especially in the mornings. I have my nice little routine here. I've been working on this now that I'm into the flow of the pattern again. I've also been catching up on quite a few vlogmases that I wasn't able to during the month of December, but I am loving them. I feel like I get to revisit the holiday season. I've been catching up on a homespun house on YouTube. I've been watching Chelsea from Legacy Fiber Arts on her Patreon. Hers are, I really had a lot to catch up on there, so I've just been fully immersed in hers, and they are wonderful. And I've also been watching a lot of stationery and planner videos. Erin Ware comes to mind. The Maggie Johnson comes to mind. She put a video up this week. I was so excited to see. I've just been gathering all the inspiration and enjoying so many videos this week. One of the other projects that I've made a lot of progress on is my Advent sock, the first one. I can't quite remember where I was at Christmas, but I've been catching up on my stripes, and I am at the point where I'm ready to put in the toe. So I took a break from this one, started to work on my Sophie hood and forgot about it, but this just needs a toe. And then I will pick up the second one. I don't even remember where I was on that one, and I think it's tucked away in another bag. But, oh, I think I need to put the heel in. Yes, I need to put the heel in the second one, but this is the Advent yarn from the Cozy Knitter, and I absolutely love how it came out. I'm really happy that I started my rib cuff with the self-striping yarn and I didn't use a mini. I just love the look of it, and I also love that I kind of circled all the way around and I'm back at the initial colors. So I just think they look really balanced and beautiful, and I love them. So I am very motivated to not forget about the second sock on this pair. I am just not in a super big rush because I have all of these other projects that I am loving right now. And I'm all about just working on whatever makes me happy in the moment. I am trying to not feel any pressure. If I don't want to finish something, I'm not finishing it. I know not everyone can do that or likes that, but right now, that's where I'm at. I am just going to devote whatever time I have to whatever I want to this year. So the third project that I'm still loving, I just haven't worked on it much this week, is my Habitation throw. This is a pattern by Helen Stewart, is that correct? From the Curious Handmade, using my Cami Jo Knit Advent calendar, and I love it. I'm really happy with this project too. It's actually got me feeling like I need to pick up my Cozy Memories blanket, which I haven't touched in over a year. It's sitting in the family room in a beautiful tray, ready to be picked up at any time. But this project just reminded me of how much fun using minis can be, especially when you find the right pattern for you. I think sometimes certain patterns are beautiful, but they're just not for me. And this one I am really enjoying. So I'm only on color 3 or day 3. This is day 4. I think this is going to be so much fun. I was watching Camilla's final, I believe it was her final vlogmas from Cami Jo Knit, and she finished her anthology throw with her minis from this Little Women Advent calendar, and it was absolutely stunning. And someone here in the comments gave me an excellent idea, since I didn't use the entire mini skein for the first color because I didn't want it to be like a huge wedge and then not feel balanced. They suggested that I finish with this one, which I think is a fantastic idea. I'm really going to try to make that happen. Yeah, I really, really like this. I guess I can just knit a little bit extra towards the middle when I start to decrease instead of increase, and then just make it work. I think it's gorgeous. It's so much fun to knit. Even if I take a break from this now and then, I think I will keep coming back to it because it's a lot of fun. And I feel like I switched gears with my knitting about a month or so ago. I was all about the sweaters. I accumulated quite a few sweater quantities of yarn this past year, and I'm kind of hoping to stick with all of those plans, but just whenever I feel like it. Because I feel like working on these projects right now, that's where I'm going to spend my time. And as soon as I feel like knitting a sweater, I am going to my stash and I'm going to my queue of patterns. And I'm really just gonna enjoy whatever projects I want to. I think that is the best way for me. Even if things sit in a bag for a little while, I'm okay with that. So that is my book update, my knitting update. I do have some planner stuff I wanted to share with you, and I might even carry this video over to tomorrow because I do want to make sure that I'm kind of relaxing this afternoon and enjoying my time off, and I think it might be more fun that way, so I can share even more with you tomorrow. A lot of my time this past week has been spent taking little piles of things from one spot to another, just moving them around until I figure out where their final home is, and I kind of love that process. I've also spent a lot of time in this room. This is my work room, and I haven't really been doing work for the shop, just a few little things here and there. Mostly my time in here has been spent reorganizing a little bit. I needed to declutter. I've been moving a few things around, getting my desks tidied up and ready for a fresh new year. But most of all, I have been spending a lot of time setting up my journals and planners for 2026. I have quite a few of them. For some, it might seem like too many. For others, it might just seem right. I love having different journals for different things, and I share little snippets of them online here and there. But for some reason, I'm a little bit reserved about doing major flip throughs and sharing when they're all filled in. And I just think I keep them close to my heart because they contain a lot of me and who I am. But I thought I would share how I've started to set them up. I'm probably going to do a bit more of an in-depth flip through and explanation of everything that I use in a Patreon video. I feel like that's a good one for January. But for now, I thought I would share the main ones that I am hoping to use regularly and how I've started to set them up. I know I shared a bit about my Hobonichi weeks during Vlogmas, so I will be really brief with that one, and I'm going to focus on my main, I guess it's planner / art journal, which is my Hobonichi. And then another one that I have set up to kind of be like a companion to me this year. It's not necessarily something I need to write in or do work in or journal in often, but it's something I want to kind of have nearby, and I can just toss in things whenever I feel like it. These are my 3 main journals and planners that I've been setting up this week for 2026. I also have a work planner. I have not started to set that up yet. It's not very exciting. I have some other notebooks that I keep, one for making, like just keeping track of any kind of creative projects. I've got a gratitude journal, but these are probably what you would call part of my journaling ecosystem for the year, and I'm very excited about them. I've used a Hobonichi Weeks and a Hobonichi Cousin for many, many years, but I feel like I've slightly changed how I'm using them, especially my main Hobonichi Cousin. So I thought I would go through and just share a little peek at how I've started to set them up and how I'm using them. I shared this one during Vlogmas. This is my Hobonichi Weeks planner, which I have in a Galen Leather Company cover. I think this is called Plum. And I love this. This is basically my everyday life and wellness planner. So in here, I keep track of appointments, important dates for myself, for my family. I do a little bit of wellness tracking for myself in here, and I just kind of jot down what's going on for the week. I haven't really used the blank pages at the back just yet. There's some note pages back here, but I really like this as a super easy planner to just keep track of the basics, just important dates, what's going on, and am I keeping up on the things that I'm doing for my own health and wellness. So that one's pretty basic. I did use the Hobonichi Weeks like that last year. I think I am focusing more on the weeks being like a planner to keep note of all of the important things going on in life and not doubling up as much of that information in this planner. So this is my Hobonichi A5 Cousin Avec. The Avec is the one that is split into two. So when you order a Hobonichi planner, you can either get the full year or you can get it split into two. This is a Hobonichi cover. I don't remember the name of it. And I have covered my cover. I like to use decorative papers, just things that I've collected. And I like to keep a few cute little things up here. I've got some stencils. This is an older collage sheet cutie from Courtney Diaz of Little Raven Ink. I've laminated her. And sometimes I use her as a little bookmark, but I just like her tucked in here. I think she's adorable. So I've been spending a little bit of time getting acquainted with this one. I've taken inspiration from a few people that I've discovered this past year on YouTube. I've got some dot stickers in here, and I will show you how I use those. I was very inspired by Stephanie of, I believe her YouTube channel is called The Journal Diaries. I'll put her link down below. She used her monthly pages to document all of the things that bring her joy. And so I started a little bit at the end of December. I didn't really get a chance to keep up with it throughout December, but I'm basically using color-coded dot stickers to jot down when or what days I knit, read, journal, watch something, or do a home project. And the reason I'm doing this is because I really like to look back and see how I've spent my time. I am just someone who fills my time up with things that need to get done, and I often run out of energy and then feel a little bit down that I didn't devote more time to some of these things. And so doing this, having a visual tracker of some kind, just reminds me of how I'm spending my time, and I love that. So I guess I can start the January this week. So far, I have just started my first spread in the weekly section, and I'm really enjoying this. For this part, I used to use this much more as a planner. I would put down things that I needed to do for the week over here in this column. If I had ordered anything for work, like shipping supplies or fabrics, just any kind of materials, I would jot down notes down here. Now I have a separate work planner to keep track of things like that. And I would just use the weekly pages to jot down our dinners, what I was making, and just kind of keep track of what's going on in my life or in my family's life. But it was a little bit repetitive with this. And I've also discovered this past year the Maggie Johnson on YouTube, and I'm thoroughly invested in how she uses her planner. I think it is so interesting and I'm trying it out. So basically, I am just jotting down what's going on any given day, just journaling in short form how I'm spending my time. I'm adding photos when I can, little stickers, little collage sheet elements. I got some new pencil crayons this past month, and so I was just doing some little swatches here, and I'm really enjoying this so far. So this is how I'm planning on using my weekly spreads as a journal of all the good things. And I have just started to set up the first couple of pages in the planner. So the first section when you transition over to the daily pages is this 2-page spread, blank grid paper that says turning the page to a new year. And I usually set this up a little bit like a mood board or an inspiration board. Sometimes I put stuff in here for my word of the year. I haven't finished setting it up, but I've started with some bits and pieces that I have screenshot from Instagram. This one here is from Instagram. This is from Pinterest. These are from Patreon collage sheets from Susanna. I can't remember the full name of her Patreon, but I will put her information in the description box below as well. I've really enjoyed her collage sheets and they're showing up in a lot of spots in my journals. This is one of hers as well. This is from Pinterest. So this is today's. I haven't done it yet. And at the beginning of each month, there's also a blank page. So I'm putting in a little 2026 image here. I'm going to write a little bit about the month ahead, maybe some goals. I'm not quite sure. But this one I'm just going to have fun with and add to it throughout the next couple of days. And then each and every day, I'm planning on using these pages, whether or not they are on the actual day. I'm not going to concern myself with this year. That's always a little bit of a heaviness for me because I dip in and out of my journals and planners a lot, which is why I often don't want to do a flip through and share it, because I will go weeks filling in page after page, and then I will go weeks with nothing. And so I'm going to be using these pages, hopefully each and every day. But if I don't, I'm just going to continue and fill in with notes. It might be almost like a commonplace planner to me, just gathering bits of inspiration from here and there. If I listen to an interesting podcast, I'll put notes in here. If I find some great new YouTube videos, I can jot down information in here. If I read a great book and I want to take notes, quotes, anything will go in here. And this is where I can also add some photos and have a little bit more space to write about anything going on that I wouldn't have space for here. So that is how I'm planning on using my Hobonichi cousin this year. It's definitely more of a journal for myself to document if I feel like it, to take notes if I feel like it. It's just a whatever kind of journal with no strings and no pressure. I'm trying to just push through and not feel discouraged if I don't use it for a little while, and maybe just find another way to use the paper. We will see. But I'm really excited about these two. These are basically ones that I'm going to keep nearby and try to keep up with very regularly. This one here is my Louise Carmen. I think it's called the Honoré. It's the medium-sized journal. And I've had this for just under a year, and I've been trying to fall in love with it without any luck. I've been a little bit disappointed in it. It was a huge investment that I made at the beginning of 2025, and I haven't really enjoyed it. So I've tried, I've put it aside. I pull it out and try again, no luck. But this year, I am trying again. I've taken everything out of it. I've changed my band. I think I'm going to be changing these little charms on it, and I'm just gonna try again because I do love a traveler style notebook to tote around with me whenever I feel like it. And I've had this one engraved with my name as well. And I ended up pulling out an older notebook that I had already started some things in and then adding in a new notebook that fit a lot better. This is an A5 Slim. An A5 notebook is just a bit too wide in here for me. And so I'm trying this out. This is a standard size notebook that I've had for years. I don't remember where I got it, but it's Konnichiwa. It's a really nice thick notebook with grid paper. And I really love to have a notebook with my routines in it, my weekly routines, my daily routines, favorite meals, just all kinds of rendered standard things that I can go back and visually reference. It's just something about how my brain works. I can get off track. I can have a few weeks of not feeling like I'm very focused, or I lose track of my usual routines. And then I like to have this to sort of go back to. And I looked at everything. Everything is the same. And so I'm just sticking with this book instead of starting a new one. I start off with my morning, afternoon, evening routines or key things to remember. I've got my weekly tasks listed out by the day. I've got a daily checklist, what to do if I want a quick reset, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, and things. I started this last year and I love it. Things I want to keep in the front of my mind. So just reminders when life gets a little bit chaotic, because that seems to be how I work. I think I thrive in chaos, which is fine, but every once in a while I need to go back and I need to slow down. And I really like some of these things to remind myself to get back on track. Then I have easy dinner ideas, crock pot recipes I like, Instant Pot favorites, baking favorites, other desserts. I've got paint colors in my home, my astrological sign information. I did some note taking this past year, so I added some notes I had somewhere else into this book about a dopamine menu, and I really love the concept of this, so I listed them all out here. Got a little cute image that I found, I think on Instagram, of things to do to fill your cup. And I'm just going to continue using this notebook for things like that. I just love a notebook with things that you already know, but I like to write things down. So this is working for me so far. I have a blank Louise Carmen notebook in here, which is quite thin. And this is going to be for anything I want to draw out. I've been having some ideas for bags. And I think this is just going to be like a little scratchy, rough sketchbook that I can grab and draw in if a design comes to mind. This one is the new notebook that is finally making this notebook feel, or this whole system feel a little bit better to me. I had an A5 in here and it just felt too wide and stretched out, but this is an A5 Slim. It is a moleskin and it's a dot notebook. And I think that this is going to be to take notes. So if I'm reading something and I want to take notes, or if I really want to do in-depth notes on something I'm researching, because sometimes I do that for work, for new projects. I've been wanting to get into some more quilting this year, and I want to research some of the different stars that are my favorites. So this is going to be more of like a project research type of book, and I'm really excited about this. And it just feels better. Before it was a bit wider, a bit flatter, and now it just feels right. So I'm still easing into this. It's kind of a new setup. I just set it up a day or two ago, but so far it's working for me. And I also conditioned the leather because it was feeling very dry. I wasn't very happy with it, but now I think it could work. So this is basically the system that I'm sticking with, but I did mention I do have a work planner. I've got some other random notebooks that I will probably dip in and out, but these are the ones that are the main parts of my journaling ecosystem. And I've been really enjoying just spending time with them this week. I have a lot of supplies that I've been sampling and just using this week and loving. I have been loving my Delphonics pouch. I think I shared this a while back. This is the medium utility pouch that if I want to bring with me downstairs, it has everything I could really need kind of on the go. And that's what I've been working with this week. I'm really excited to get into the new notebooks. I'm loving so many people online. I'm going to put their names and links down below. There have been so many great discoveries I've made this year, new to me. They've been around, but I just thought I would give you a little journaling planner update because this is what I've been focused on this week. I started to edit this video and it's getting very long, so I think I should wrap it up for the day and not carry it over to tomorrow. But there's one more thing I wanted to share before I wrap things up, because this project has been on my mind for a couple of days. I've been really in love with quilt stars for a very long time, but this past year I've been extra interested in some of them, and I've been collecting a few quilting books and just enjoying researching some of them and some of the history behind them. And then I saw Molly on a Homespun House in a Vlogmas episode. She was knitting one of the Stella quilt cushions by Laura Penrose, who I absolutely adore. And I decided to purchase the pattern and start digging into some of my older Advent minis to see if I had a nice palette. I think this would be such a fun project, and I'd really like to make two for the couch in the front room, or maybe the family room. I'm not quite sure. These are older Advent minis. I haven't dipped into this year's or this past Christmas's Advent calendars. I like to keep them all together for a little while in case I want to use them all in one project. And I have so many random ones from years past that I thought I would start there first. I do need to figure out what my main color would be. I'm not sure if I want to go with a natural or maybe something just with a little bit of a hint of a neutral color. I'm not quite sure. And I'm not rushing into this, but I was having fun earlier pulling out some of my favorite colors and trying to figure it out. I thought this grouping might be really nice, but I'm not sure yet. Anyways, this is one of the things I'm thinking about. Oh, that's nice. But I need to find my main color or my neutral and kind of narrow down what color palette I'm looking for. But I think this will be a really fun way to use some of my Advent minis. It's one of the things I've been really trying to do the last year or two because I do have a lot of them and I'm not really a blanket knitter. So finding interesting patterns for them has become really fun for me. I love cowls, I love shawls, but this would be something different and it would kind of mix some of my different loves into one project because I do love quilt stars. So I thought I would share that before I wrapped up. It's not quite dinner time. It's starting to get dark. I think we're going to go sit down in the basement and watch the final episode of Stranger Things before dinner. I've put a ham in the slow cooker, and we have lots of leftovers from New Year's Eve, so I'm not quite sure what dinner's gonna look like, but we have plenty of food, and it's gonna be a really cozy night spent in front of the TV by the Christmas tree in the basement. So I hope you guys are having a great start to the new year. I hope you have lots of creative projects to keep you company and you stay cozy and warm, and I will see you guys very soon.